Hello, 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 everybody. This is my first ever solo YouTube Live. And I'm so proud of myself right now because I'm not your technical girly, but I really feel like I did something here today. So anyways, we're going to see how this goes. Thank you guys so much for being here. Let me know where around the world you are logging in from, and we are going to go over today the Epstein files, but specifically, where's Jeffrey Epstein? Is he alive? Is Ghislaine Maxwell in prison? Or have they blatantly done a body swap, hoping that none of us would figure it out? I think the latter, personally. So bear with me as we do our first ever stream. I'm so excited. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I would like to play this movie for you guys that is now become my anthem. Before we jump into things, I just feel as though it is the moment and it is what we all need to be thinking of. Let's hope you guys can see this. Let's get this as big as it can go. Let's watch this.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
With the chance of us getting out of here, I'm million to one. What is the truth?
What do we have to say? There's some good in this world, Mr. And it's worth fighting.
Okay, now that might, that is my anthem, okay? And this might seem a little weird to you. This is what I was gonna say. But I played that on repeat at least 100 times today, okay? A lot of people don't realize that WFF stands for World for Freedom. And that is what I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for all of us to be free. And I feel like those movies, those moments are reminders that if we can just unite on the important issues, that we can overcome the powerful elites that are running and ruling the world. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you know who I think that is, the Illuminati, and a group of people that are evildoers. And we're really in a spiritual war right now, and it is the light versus the darkness. And my personal saying is heal, unite, and fight for the light. And the reason that heal is in there is because I believe through our food, through our water, through the chemtrails being dropped from the sky, they have been poisoning us. And you have to be diligent and you have to be disciplined and be able to overcome that in order to heal, be your best self, find your purpose, and fight for the light. That's what I have personally done, not to toot my own horn, but it has been a long, long journey. We'll get into that another day. Okay, let's now go to Ghislaine Maxwell, okay? I did a story on this, and you guys, this is who they are saying Ghislaine Maxwell is. It's just absolutely offensive at this point, okay? This is the face. Ghislaine Maxwell, everybody. This picture was taken on February 9th, a week ago, when Ghislaine was set to testify in front of Congress. No shocker there. She pled the fifth. Now let's do a side-by-side of the noses here. Above is the picture from February 9th, and below is the Ghislaine Maxwell that has been photographed for decades around the world, running in these different circles There is no way that that Bert and Ernie nose up above, ladies and gentlemen, is the same nose. But the nose alone. Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. We know for a fact that the CIA has come out and said that they use masks. The eyes don't look the same. The eye color here doesn't even look the same. Something weird is going on. And by the way, where's the freckle? Where's the freckle? Where are some of these, trademark indicators that it would be the same thing? They're gone. And I have people in my comments saying, well, without Botox and without this and without that, her appearance could have changed. Sure, it could have changed. But last I checked, you ain't getting a new nose. You ain't getting new eyes. Okay? And that's why they have these glasses on. That's why they have all this different stuff. Because they're trying to distract from the fact that this is a different person. This is a different face. This is a different body. We went through this time and time again during the Biden administration. We got 2-foot Biden, we got 3-foot Biden. We got 8-foot Biden, we got 6-foot Biden. We got double chin Biden, we got all the Bidens in the world, ladies and gentlemen. And even now, let's be honest, Donald Trump has taken on different appearances. Okay? But Ghislaine Maxwell does not look the same. And this close-up really shows you that these noses completely different. Completely different. And I found this wig on Amazon for about $79. Doesn't that look like she's wearing some Austin Powers dress-up wig here? Insane. Insane. So I just had to show you that. And, before I go any further, here's some more side-by-sides. Let's go through these. Okay, this is Ghislaine Maxwell that was testifying on the left that we know. On the right is the one that went into jail. Okay, little bit more believable. But again, if you're going to go through the nose and the eyes, it's different again. So the question now is, how many body doubles have there been? Boom, Austin Powers. This is absolutely insane. But when we look at the most recent body double, this is the video I want to show. Okay, because what you will see here over and over again is the ear line. Okay? I want you to pay attention to the ears. This red line goes across the bottom of the eyes, and remember, whether you age or not, this does not change. And if anything, as you age, your ears get what? Bigger. Your nose gets bigger, your ears get bigger. Those are the two things that continue to grow your whole life. Okay? So look at the eye line and look at the ears. Here she is. And here's the body double. Up, the ears are below. Ears are above, ears are below. Ears are above, ears are below. Okay. Again, bear with me, my first ever live. And I need to figure out how to get the chat up in here. Here's the chat. I doubt anybody's chatting. Oh, you guys are chatting. Hi, Danny. Good to see you. Alyssa McDonald. That is a man, said Jerry. I watched that hearing. It's not her. Okay? Exactly. It's not. And what does it remind us of? What does it remind me of? Well, to be honest with you, it reminds me of the Epstein body double that we got. Let's go ahead and look at this here. Here's the Epstein body double. Why do I say it's an Epstein body double? Because once again, look at the face side by side. Right here is when Epstein was alive. They took his picture, they rotated it, and all of a sudden he grew a hook nose. Good to see you too. So it seems that this is something that they've been doing. And they just think that we're that dumb. And let's not forget the 4chan message that was in the Epstein files from the prison guard, they've been able to track this back. Not saying anything after this. Please do not try to dox me. But last night, after 0415 count, that's where they count all the prison guards. They took him to medical in a wheelchair. They're referring to Jeffrey Epstein. But not one triage nurse spoke to him. Next thing we know, he's put in a single man cell and hangs himself. Here's the thing, a trip van did not sign in and we did not record the plate number, and a guy in a green dress military outfit was in the back of the van, according to the tower guy who let him through the gate. You guys, I'm shaking right now, but I think they switched him out with a body double. Okay? And let's not forget this. When Ghislaine Maxwell went into prison, okay, in July of 2020, they gave us this Rosie O'Donnell in the Flintstones body double. And when you remember where Ghislaine Maxwell comes from and her roots, her father had ties to intelligence. Her father had ties to intelligence. And I'm actually working on a story right now that I find to be very interesting. But Ghislaine Maxwell, she had her helicopter license, she had her EMT license, and she also had her submarine license. Now, that is not a common license to hold. And knowing that her father was a spy, knowing that her father worked for sure for MI6 intelligence, you have to wonder if Ghislaine was ushered into that same life. Everybody talks about Epstein's ties with intelligence. We know that, right? That's been proven time and time again. After the 2008 hearing, where they had 145 victims, and yet he still got off with a slap on the wrist. And remember, elites on both sides, Democrats, Republicans, it does not matter. They're all in the files. They were all going to parties at Epstein's house after 2008 when he pled guilty to procuring prostitution for a minor. Okay? So these people knew, and they just don't care, it seems. But to me, it's pretty obvious that they are still protecting Epstein and Ghislaine. There's a lot of people that will say, you're crazy, you're a conspiracy theorist. Haven't heard it enough times in my life. I wear it as a badge of honor. Because how many times going back have I been called a conspiracy theorist, and how many of them have come true? Remember, I started my first ever TikTok in 2023. But before then, I was building up, right? I've been called a tin head for over 10 years. And people laugh at you and they think you're crazy. And then COVID hit, and I go, okay, shit's getting serious. Mar R310, oh my God, Danny, you have a channel. First live ever. First live ever. So when it comes to Ghislaine, call me a conspiracy theorist all you want, but when you jump down the rabbit hole, it is pretty obvious to me when you look at her father's history and background, and you look at just the licenses that she holds, helicopter, EMT, and submarine, that Ghislaine Maxwell is also working for intelligence. Look, it would make sense that both her and Epstein would have been working for intelligence because together they operated this blackmail operation around the world. They operated it in Hollywood. They operated it with academics. And the story that I'm working on right now has to do with submarines. Everybody likes to look at Lolita Express for how they transported these girls and traffic them around the world. But let's not forget that Ghislaine and Epstein donated a ton of money to the Clintons for their ocean, what was it called? Ocean Gate? Let's ask Grok. I'll bring you guys along with me to ask Grok. This is what's so cool. Again, my first time live ever. Maybe you guys know in the chat, let me know. What was the Clintons Ocean Foundation? Okay. Tara Mar. I'm trying to find the one that Epstein and Ghislaine donated to. What I'm excited about this now YouTube live streaming is you guys can actually go along with me on some instances where I am searching things up. Okay, Ghislaine Maxwell is the one that founded Terra Mar in 2012, a nonprofit dedicated to ocean conservation, focusing on protecting the high seas. And I just have to say, something that is very interesting to me is the various individuals that are considered elites. Ghislaine Maxwell, the Clintons, Epstein, and Peter Thiel that are very interested in the ocean and specifically exploration in the ocean, right? We saw this with the little submersible, the Titan, that the billionaires were on in 2023, and all of a sudden it imploded, and we thought we were hearing SOS sounds from the submersible. So what I'm wondering is it possible with Ghislaine having her submarine license, and by the way, this has been reported in the Daily Mail. Let me just pull up my other laptop so I can read it to you guys, because I'm working on doing research for this story that I'm going to do, and I'm using Ian Carroll's new AI the Web.io that's going through all the Epstein files. It is so amazing, and it is known that in this Daily Mail article that Ghislaine Maxwell had her submarine license. Of course, this was reported back in 2012. Now, people might tell you, oh, that's not true, or that hasn't been proven. Well, back in 2012, it was true. Back in 2012, it was true. And also, at Little St. James Island, Epstein redid a whole entire submarine. He brought many of the academic higher-ups like Stephen Hawking to his Little St. James to take them on a submarine tour of the seabed of the island, okay? Epstein, 61, is said to have paid for the submarine to be modified for Professor Hawking, who had never been underwater before. Isn't that a sweet story? The Cambridge professor visited Epstein's Island of Sin in March 2006, shortly before the pedophile billionaire was charged by police in Palm Beach with unlawful sexual activity with a minor. Hawking was one of 21 renowned scientists attending a conference funded by Epstein on gravity at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel on neighboring island St. Thomas. Epstein invited the scientists on a trip to a 78-acre private island retreat and was on hand to host them. Brought in on the billionaire's private jet, nicknamed Lolita Express by locals, numerous teenage girls were allegedly made to take part in depraved orgies at his U.S. Virgin Island house, in court papers redacted, this is from the files, by the way, alleges that her third and final sexual encounter with Prince Andrew took place on the island when she was 17. According to the flight books, the prince paid at least one visit abroad, Epstein's private jet on the island, went to Little St. James several times, on and on. Nahu1081, oh my FG, how are you doing? I follow you on TikTok. Hello, hello, I'm doing good. This is my first ever live stream on YouTube. You guys, I am not a tech girl and I am so proud of myself because I got cameras up here. I can switch now. I can show you stuff on my computer and I'm gonna get bigger, hopefully, but I'm gonna get better and better at this. But today is my first live stream. Thank you so much, Nahu, for the love. And what we're talking about is how I am working on a theory that I think that everybody's focused on Lolita Express, Jeffrey Epstein's private jet, transferring these girls to Little St. James. But what people are forgetting, or they're not talking about time and time again, is that Ghislaine Maxwell, the daughter of a known MI6 spy, Robert Maxwell was her father, has her submarine license. It was reported. You can look it up in the Epstein files too and see the Daily Mail article. And how long would it take if they had a military submarine to get from Palm Beach to Little St. James? A day and a half, ladies and gentlemen. No stops needed. Brrr, under the water. Salah said, proud of you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your guys' support. Okay? So, let's pull up the Ghislaine Maxwell article so I can just read that to you. And in the meantime, we can go ahead and ask Grok, okay, how long would it take in a military submarine to get from Palm Beach to Little St. James Island? And I believe it's between 1 and 2 days. And in the files, over and over again, by the way, 55 hours, okay? Between 1 and 2 days, like I said. And while we're at it, let's just go ahead and pull up the Epstein files so we can look through and you guys can see for yourself how many times I've been here so often, it's like I know exactly where I'm going. Submarine is brought up. Look at this. What do you know? Submarine Epstein files. You see that? 1 of 10 pages, 166 results. And a lot of this, I went through this for hours last night. A lot of this is talking about submarine cable lines that they are proposing for Little St. James. And at first, when I saw this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is it. I found the cable. They were doing cables for the submarines. And no, I was wrong. Submarine cable lines are for Wi-Fi and different infrastructure so that they had that set up at the island, okay? But what is interesting is when you click through these files, there's a lot of emails about different countries buying and selling submarines to one another. Okay? Now I have to figure out what page this is because I went through these last night. But let me tell you, Germany's selling submarines to Israel. And they also talk about the yellow submarine. This is interesting. This is from Peggy Siegel. And if you don't remember who Peggy Siegel is, she is the Hollywood agent. And she talks about setting up, you know, these parties. When I uncovered that Zohran Memdani, the New York City mayor's mother, Mira Nair, was at one of Epstein's parties. It was from an email from Peggy Siegel, okay? It was from one of these emails. And here you can see she sends this email, typical day to Jeffrey Epstein. You can see it here. Typical day, beyond great. Yesterday, went to Javier Bardem's film. He gets an Oscar nom. The film is brilliant and depressing. So she's talking about this stuff, right? They're doing press, lunch here. Carrot was J-Lo's dressed for Easter in 4-inch Louboutin heels with Mark Anthony. J-Lo, of course, no surprise to me there. The reason I say no surprise to me there is because J-Lo is known in the industry as being the ultimate diva. She's not known as being very nice. Now, I've seen her up close and personal, not super up close and personal, but across a room. She is one of those celebrities, and this was years ago, okay? I don't want to age myself, but a long time ago. She is one of those celebrities that glows. She has the star effect. She's so beautiful. She's so beautiful. But do you remember her campaigning for Kamala Harris last year and starting to cry? We need to get loud. We need it. Bitch, you are not one of us. You are not one of this. You are not one of us. And we know, at this point in time, we know that they all are more connected in these rings and these circles with these elites. They are the grasshoppers. They are not the ants. That doesn't mean she was involved in sex trafficking at all. It does not mean that. But it does mean that she was hanging out with J.E. Okay, back to the email. This is where I want to get to. Here we go. Took English director Tom Hooper, okay, to Paul Allen's boat till 3 a.m. This is the part, you guys. Everyone faints from boat tour and yellow submarine as Paul plays guitar in his own band. More to come. Jagger staying on the boat. We had a ball. Weather sunny and refreshing. Changing outfits 3 times a day. Taking notes for my diary and not getting enough sleep. Okay? And also, the Paul they're referring to is Paul Allen. Okay? And this is interesting to me because when I was going through this research yesterday, there's a lot of names. I don't always know who everybody is. I have to refresh my memory. Paul Allen was the guy that created Microsoft with Bill Gates in New Mexico, weirdly enough. The same place that Jeffrey Epstein had his Zorro Ranch. So Paul Allen has this huge boat, a 300-foot yacht, and on it, he had a yellow submarine. How fitting, right? And Mar R310 said, why is she giving him so much detail? It's a great question. she reported back to him. And the other thing that she noted in there, a little detail, taking notes for my diary. Where is that diary, ladies and gentlemen? All of the important stuff is not in the files. I mean, there is disturbing stuff in the files, don't get me wrong. Peggy Siegel's still alive as far as I know. Maybe we need to, research that right now. But Karina Shuliak, Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend, is definitely alive and well. Don't forget, Karina Shuliak is who Epstein transferred his trust to 2 days before he killed himself in jail. I believe that they have a son together because there's the email that was sent from, I believe, Prince Andrew's wife, Sarah Ferguson, saying congratulations on your baby boy. And I think that he had a son. It was in the time period he was dating Karina. Because why else would Karina Shuliak be inheriting, we're talking the New York townhouse, which, by the way, is neighbors with Howard Lutnick, our Secretary of Commerce, the Paris apartment, Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, Little St. James Island, and don't forget, there's also Greater St. James. There's the small island that was the trafficking island that everybody talks about. Nobody talks about the larger Greater St. James, the bigger island that he also owned right next door. They would go to and from. More research needs to be done there, in my opinion, obviously. Zorro Ranch, if I didn't already say that, $100 million in cash and a 33-carat diamond ring. How fitting, 33 carats, can you believe? So where is Karina Shuliak now? Let's see if I can actually send you guys a video of another content creator who did a very good job finding out where she is. I'm going to go on my Instagram and see if I can find this saved. Shannon Hill News found Karina. I'm just going to play it for you here.
Karina Shuliak, you can run, but you can't hide because my followers will find you and they will send your pictures to me. Shout out to my follower Sonia who emailed me photos of Karina and then I was able to locate this Instagram page. That right there, that's Karina Shuliak. That's right, the same Karina Shuliak that was seen with Jeffrey Epstein just 2 days before he offed himself. Allegedly. You know, the same Karina who he left $100 million to. His dentistry school he paid for. He even got her own dentist chair in his house. Here is Karina again at her Columbia postdoctoral gala. Confirmed she was attending Columbia University College of Dental Medicine. She always seems to be hiding in the back of each photo. See, there she is again. I can't help but wonder if she just doesn't want to be seen. Because after all, Karina, you were the last person to see Jeffrey Epstein. He also handed to you a majority of his fortune, claimed in his will that he had planned on marrying you and was going to buy you a 33-carat ring. Something tells me you were actually the bond keeper holding the whole plan together, because I think we all know that Jeffrey Epstein didn't really kill himself, did he? So while you were trying to blend right in, you were really playing the part as secret keeper. Karina Shuliak,
okay,
can run, but
so where's Karina and where's that Peggy Siegel diary? Where's Kash Patel? I saw a clip for a stand-up comedy, and they show that cross-eyed picture of Kash Patel. And by the way, look, I shouldn't be making fun of anybody's looks. My eyes are uneven, okay? I'll be the first to tell you. But the comedian shows the cross-eyed picture of Kash Patel, and he says, man, this is the guy looking into everything for the United States? Oh my, he's the one that's reviewing the files? Kash Patel has been the biggest disappointment out of every single person in the administration, in my opinion. Pam Bondi talking about the stock market and Kash Patel. right? Oh, the Epstein files, well, the stock market's up. It's crazy. It's ludicrous, but they're not doing their jobs. They're not trying to find out what is going on or hold any of these people accountable, which is really crazy when you think about it. Like, you're going to let us go through all of these documents. You're going to let us realize that a lot of the conspiracy theories that we've had over the years, Pizzagate, blood sacrifice rituals, I believe a lot of this is proof of the Illuminati, a group of people a shadow group of people that are calling the shots, that are working for the devil. And I say that literally. I say that literally. Yes, that's what I believe. I believe it's a spiritual war. I believe it's everything every single movie has taught us. Okay? And I believe that evil, demonic entities are fighting hard to take over the world, rule the population, whatever you want to say. Whatever way you want to say it, right? And the people that are in power that aren't doing anything, well, you're just as bad. And you guys seem to be agreeing in the chat. So thank you for that. So back to this email. Paul Allen, Bill Gates' business partner that created Microsoft, had a 300-foot yacht with a yellow submarine. Let's see if we can find a picture of this. And this is a totally different submarine than the one that Jeffrey Epstein outfitted for Stephen Hawking, okay, to view the bed of the island and all of the academics. And again, the reason I'm looking into this submarine stuff is because Ghislaine Maxwell has her license. And when you go through the Epstein files, there are 10 pages where submarines are mentioned. And I think a lot of things are possible. I think they could be trafficking girls using these submarines. I think that there could be underwater cities. Like, who was the woman that Tucker Carlson interviewed that was a part of Housing and Development, HUD, that said all this money that goes missing, they're building underground cities. She said underground and underwater cities. Everybody says, oh, Epstein's in Israel, Ghislaine's here, Ghislaine. No, they're probably underwater. Okay? It's going to get me, well, she had credibility till she said that. Yeah, give me a few years. Paul Allen's 40-foot long luxury submarine, costing around $12 million in 2007, could carry up to 8 to 10 passengers plus crew, stay submerged for 8 hours and dive to depths around 1,000 feet. Designed for exploration. What is under there? What is in the ocean in general? Don't you think it's a little odd that we're going to Mars? That Elon Musk, we're going to Mars. But like, there's no video of us going back to the moon, and we don't know what the hell is in the oceans. But Peter Thiel wants to start floating cities in the oceans. Ghislaine Maxwell had Terra Mar. The Clintons had ocean foundations. And remember, when you're in the middle of the ocean, you don't go under any country's law. You don't abide by any country's law. It's maritime law. You're at sea. Anything goes. That's why your girl's never getting on a cruise ship. I've been on one in my life. One and done, ladies and gentlemen. One and done. I'll tell you the list of the reasons I don't like cruise ships. It's not just because the captain decides what happens to you, that there's a little jail cell at the bottom of the ship, you know, and you could get thrown down there. And it's not just the fact that there are many cases in which it feels like young girls are being trafficked through maritime law. Okay? And if you're in the chat or you're watching this later and you like cruises, good for you. Keep going. Keep going on the cruises. That's you. This is me. The food is shit. Okay? I am not a buffet girly. Okay? Because I'm a little bit of a germaphobe. Okay? I don't want to go get fruit with 400 people with disgusting humans, achoo, sneezing strands of Epstein bar onto my cantaloupe. It ain't for me. Okay? I don't want to be out at sea. I don't want to go visit every single senior frogs that's popped up in the Caribbean. Now, I understand there are luxury cruises in Europe and this and that. Put me on land. I'm a land creature. Okay? Put me on land. Just saying. Not for me. But Peter Thiel, Paul Allen, Ghislaine Maxwell, they all spent hundreds of millions of dollars on super yachts so they wouldn't have to abide by anybody's laws, and they had submarines. Let's just look up Peter Thiel was working on for many, 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 many years his floating steadfast. Okay, this is what he wanted. A vanity project for the rich or the future of humanity. Beloved, is he? Is he beloved? Beloved by Silicon Valley tycoons. Oh, I see. Tyranny-fearing libertarians are cities atop the waves of the Earth's next frontier. And yeah, this was going on in 2020. Coronavirus is an opportunity to show the world that we're building is actually going to be very useful in the future. And they've spent hundreds of millions of dollars trying to get this done. It's funny because billionaire Peter Thiel said that when you're out there, you're away from government-enforced lockdowns and increased digital surveillance. Like, bitch, your technology, Palantir, is the one doing that. So what, you want to make sure you're away from all of your own technology? I'm going to try to find this clip. That Tucker Carlson was talking to Catherine Austin Fitts. This is her, Catherine Austin Fitts. And she is America's leader. Let's see if we can jump here. Catherine Austin Fitts. Let's see if we can get this clip. Thank you guys for being with me on my first ever live stream. I love it. $21 trillion heist exposed. I'll bring you guys to my screen. This is what I was talking about. I did a story on this. Here we go. Let's watch this.
But there is a history of near extinction events. And one of the things that I've looked at, because I'm trying to figure out, between fiscal 1998 and fiscal 2015, there were 21 trillion of undocumentable adjustments in the U.S. government. If you go to our website, missingmoney.solera.com, we have years and years of documentation, including the government financials that show this. And so the question is, where's all this money going? And one of the things I've looked at in the process of looking at where all this money is going is the underground base and city infrastructure and transportation system that's been built. And
I'm sorry?
Yes. So we have built an extraordinary number of underground bases and supposedly transportation systems. Some of these are some of these are documented as part of the national security infrastructure. I think there are many more. So
in the United States?
In the United States, on all over the world. But from 2021 to 2023, I took one of the smartest subscribers in the Solera Report network, and he and I spent 2 years collecting all the data and all the allegations on underground bases. And then we systematically went through and tried to estimate our guess. This is totally a guess of how many underground bases, both underground in the United States, but also underground under the ocean around the United States. And our estimate was 170 with a transportation network connecting them.
And what would be the purpose?
The purpose, if you thought you were going to get a near extinction event, so to me, there are two purposes. You have so many activities going on that you need to keep secret that you're basically building the capacity to, for example, if you're doing a secret space program, you need to platform it from, things that can't be seen. But I think if you're worried about a near extinction event, that's.
So I know nothing about this other than my only window into it. I knew a contractor who worked on one in Washington, in the city of Washington, D.C. Right. And I remember him telling me about a power box, like a transformer box on Constitution Avenue that he told me, because he worked on it personally, was actually the exit, the egress from the White House. That was kind of by vehicle. I thought that was, I was like, really? He goes, oh yeah, no, I installed it, I know. And I thought, well, that's kind of crazy that in the middle of this big city where I lived I was on Constitution Avenue every day, that you could build something like that without me knowing it. Under the VP's house at the Naval Observatory, same thing. I think most people know that. Next to my brother's house on Macomb Street in DC. But that's, I always thought that was like preparation for nuclear war. Like, I didn't really think about it that much. Some of it is,
yeah. It's preparation for catastrophe.
So, but you think that there are facilities like that in other places outside DC?
Oh, yeah. So if you're interested, we have a great interview. I did an interview of Richard Dolan on underground bases on the Solera Report, and it's sort of an introduction to the topic, and it's based on a lot of the research of a guy named Richard Sauter, who is very hard to interview. So Richard kind of went through all the material. And clearly it's, I don't know if you ever saw, Washington Post did a project, it was in 2010 or 12, called Top Secret America. And one of the reporters, it was a team of 2 reporters, one of them put together a database of all the different top secret installations that had been built in the country, including since the Patriot Act. And what you saw was just this explosion of money in building so many both underground and above ground facilities.
Okay, there you go. Hopefully you guys could hear that okay. Let me know. Elon's been drilling all over in SoCal. Epstein is just in a bunker doing creepier stuff than he had ever done before in his normal life. Look. Oh, you guys could hear. Thank you so much. These wouldn't be like your, your bomb bunkers, okay? Have you seen some of the underground, like, bunkers that they've built, like, luxury? It's like, they can do like 20, 30,000 square feet more. You've probably seen those tunnels, right? Underground tunnels that people have discovered lead to like government bunkers, right? And they have grocery stores down there, and they have like McDonald's, and they have like everything set up down there. So if Epstein, is laying low, quite literally, if he's laying low in a bunker with Ghislaine somewhere, guarantee you there is some sort of railroad system that's getting them to and from. They're using those CIA masks. They're doing all the different things. Nobody's catching them. They're out and about. I have no doubt. I don't think Jeffrey Epstein's dead. I don't think Ghislaine Maxwell's in prison. And, yeah, I just don't. I just don't. I think this is one of the... So, I don't know if this is the right video, but there's like unbelievable masks that people can wear.
As an undercover CIA officer for over 25 years. We liked the idea of stunt double masks. They're quick on, they're quick off. They dramatically change your appearance. And we started using them and found them to be valuable to our operations. So we went back to our disguise labs out at Langley, and we invented a whole new genre of masks. Masks that are so good, that are so realistic, that you can actually get up close and have a personal contact with someone for an extended period of time. I said the stunt double mask came off quickly. So did our new masks, on and off like a hat. Those masks were the beginning of a whole new generation of work that we did at the CIA. Once we could make these masks that fit you so well, then we discovered we could make a twin. We could make another you. There could be two of you. We could actually make 5 or 6 of you, but usually one extra was all we needed.
So there you have it. Easy peasy. Could be a guy, could be a girl. Doesn't matter. And yeah, like Biden, Mar R310 said. And there's been a couple times where, I think Trump's had a body double too. I think that presidents around the world use these body doubles for security purposes, 100%. They don't want to go places. They don't want to do things. I think they use holograms. But this idea that, this AI-generated photo of Epstein walking around out there and, it just looks like him. No. You're not going to find him. You're not going to see him. And then you get to all of the blood stuff that's in these files. And, you start wondering, are vampires real? They're talking about adrenochrome. They're talking about blood sacrifices. And they're all in bed with the royals, right? Prince Andrew is the brother of King Charles. Remember, who was married to Princess Diana, right? He's the king right now. And King Charles is related to an old-time prince of Romania called Vlad the Impaler. He was known for being this horribly mean guy that would impale the bodies of prisoners or citizens if he didn't like what you were doing. That means where you put a stake through their body. You let them drain out. He was the son of a king who was in this secret society nightclub called the Knights of the Dragon. And in this secret society, they gave out family names to all the families. And the name that Vlad's family got was Draculae. Draculae. And Bram Stoker, the author, was inspired to write Dracula, the story about vampires from Vlad the Impaler and the family that lived in Romania, in Transylvania, which is a real place. And King Charles, to this day, owns many properties in Transylvania. Loves it there. Loves it there. King Charles loves Transylvania. There's like Vogue articles about this. He spends his summers there. Let's look at this. He was drawn by its unspoiled landscapes, rich biodiversity, and traditional rural lifestyle. Connection to the land and heritage. He described his connection to the region as being, quote, in my blood. Hello? Could he have used a different describer? In my blood? Ladies and gentlemen, smoking gun. He is a distant descendant of Vlad the Impaler, a historical figure linked to the area. Notice on here on Google, they don't bring up the fact that Vlad the Impaler is the inspiration for Dracula. He supports the preservation of rural landscapes and biodiversity through the Prince of Wales Foundation, Romania. The king appreciates the slow pace of life where traditional agriculture farming methods are still used. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say he likes more traditional methods for something else. You know what I mean? Maybe draining some BLOOD. He owns at least 10 properties in Romania. How about that? How about that? And let's not forget, in 2024, how King Charles had a portrait made of him that if you split it in half, remember this? Remember this portrait? Oh yes, clap, clap, clap. How beautiful your blood drawing. But this is what I wanted to show you. If you put it side by side, what do you see here? Baphomet. You see Baphomet. The MotoCAD. Hello, hello. Good to see you. And if you don't know what the face of Baphomet looks like, boom. There it is. Look at that. Side by side, turn it upside down. Look what you have. Nahu said, do you remember the torture chamber of the owner of the pizzeria in the Pizzagate case, James Alefantis? No. I gotta look that up. But these people across the board are evil. And they're all over the Epstein files. In fact, let's just see how many times is King Charles in these files. I haven't looked at this one yet. Let's just show you guys yourself. And looks like he's mentioned 25 times, so not that many. And I would like to just say, you owe Prince Andrew, King Charles, and his family a monumental apology. Let's click on this one. Who is this? Oh, wow. Unbelievable. From redacted to everybody's redacted. Look at this. Look at all these redacteds. Can you believe this shit? This is so insane. Blank, I'm completely shocked that you still have your job at the FBI. I'm also shocked that Cash still has his job at the FBI. Cash! No, I'm just kidding. Let's go back. How's your father's friendship with the Clintons going? So blank, why don't you tell blank what you said to me when I asked you 2 very specific questions when we met? Blank, maybe blank, who was my attorney, can tell you. I mean, on and on. What blank from the FBI will tell you also is that initially international victims were not welcome at first. I had to fight my way in, didn't I, blank? So between the two of you, I would like to file some serious criminal charges. You see, I did civil litigation. The fact that blank offered I do that instead of our conversation speaks volume. So far, I've been treated like a piece of shit. How much do you want to bet this person's dead? She knew exactly what was going on. And Met Police let her and her family down, all because of a photo produced by blank and Sharon Churcher from the Daily Mail. So much as blank graced me with the knowledge of his 20 years experience, I have almost 20 years experience in one of the most prolific sex trafficking rings. I think my experience tops blank's, don't you think? So between the two of you, blank and blank, you decide which one of these files these charges. You're a bloody disgrace, the two of you. On and on. Blank, you own Prince Andrew, King Charles, and his family a monumental apology. I don't think so, mate. So, I know, calm down. I don't think so, mate, makes me think that this is somebody from Australia. And don't forget about the book, Eyes Wide Shut. Okay. I don't know if, let's see. Was it called Eyes Wide Open or Eyes Wide Shut? Let's see if I have it on here. Let's see, books. Let's open this up. Let's go to my library. Good thing here we go. Eyes Wide Open by Fiona Barnett. Okay? You guys ever seen this book? This was written by a girl, Fiona Barnett, that was sex trafficked throughout Australia. And she wrote this book, and luckily I have it downloaded on here. It's titled CIA Child Trafficking, MK Ultra in Australia, Ritual Abuse and Mind Control, Trauma-Based Forced Disassociation, Trauma-Focused Integration. This was released in 2019, before COVID. And they tried to take it down everywhere, but the anonymous hacking group released it. And what I need to do is I need to actually plug this in. Okay? I need to plug this in to AI, and I need to get some summary information for you guys. But Nicole Kidman's father is named in this book. I know that. He was very prominent. And Australia is apparently one of the thubs. One of the main people. I was reading thought. Oh, we thought you meant the movie. Yeah, no, it's this book. And I think you can still download it on ebook. Eyes Wide Open. Although I know the movie too. But this is where it is. This is where it's at. And look at the other books I have on here. This is just funny. I need to go through this stuff. I've got the Book of Enoch. I need to revisit that as well. I wonder if it's correlated. It definitely is. There's definitely information in here. I know for a fact there is, because back in 2019 when I was going through this, and remember, this was This was 4 years before I even ever made a TikTok. So I went through this a long, long time ago. It's crazy to think how long ago 2019 was. But Podesta's all over here. John Podesta. The Clintons are all over here. Okay? All over here. So, we'll have to do a live on that. Luciferian cover-up is one of the sections. Luciferian philosophy. Okay? Ritual abuse in Australia, the programming matrix. It goes on and on. Confessions of a Sydney Satanist. This is very hard stuff, but there might be more in here than the Epstein files in terms of naming names. I'm curious if you guys can research that now. She says Nicole Kidman's dad was a high priest in a satanic cult or something like that. Yeah, I don't know. But I do want to see. Oh yeah, he totally looks. Sorry. He looks like the rest of them. Yikes. Yikes, yikes, yikes. So there you go. We'll have to do this dive another time. Anthony Kidman. What did he do for a living? Doctor. Well, there you go. Clinical psychologist. A professor. Focused on youth mental health. That's concerning. That's concerning. Let's see. Was he ever accused of molestation? Let's find out what Google says. You're not going to give me an answer? In real life, Nicole Kidman is a Freemason and her father a satanic Freemason. Not that we need to go to Reddit. How long is this?
Nicole Kidman has been able to escape controversy for decades, despite her father leading a cult and hunting for children.
Okay, so let's watch
Literally,
a little more.
Nicole has been able to keep her father Anthony Kidman's past under wraps, and actually it was pretty convenient when he mysteriously died after these allegations came to light. What's even crazier is that Nicole Kidman was there for the entire thing. So let's get into it.
All right, I'm going to have to watch that another time, but it's obviously out there. Okay? It's out there. Look, I am so happy that and proud of myself that I set up a live where I can like go back and forth. I'm going to get better and better. I'm going to get a better angle. I'm going to do my hair and makeup next time. I'm going to get out of the hoodie. Okay? I'm excited because, you know, I was like this all day today. It's raining here. And I was trying to figure out, I got a new computer. And like, I did it. So I'm so proud of myself. And I'm so grateful that you guys were here. Thank you guys so much for being in the chats. You guys are awesome. I love you guys so much. My first live ever. It's so exciting. And before I go, for those of you that were not here to begin with, I'm going to end us with the most important video here. Let's see if this will come up.
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up.
Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life.
Soon we must all face the choice between what is right and what is easy.
The chance of us getting out of here are a million to 1.
What's the chance? What do we have to say? There's some good in this world, Mr. Frog. And it's worth fighting.
I cannot tell you how much that pumps me up. Let's frickin' go. We're in a spiritual war, okay? It's clearer than ever before. It is clearer than ever before. Like Candace Owens said, the one thing we know from these files, evil exists, the devil exists, Lucifer exists, Satan exists, which means God exists, which means angels exist, which means good exists. So we got to unite. We got to fight for the light. I love you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. God bless you. And, you know, all I got to say is light, 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 baby. And, you know, I'm never going to be bought and paid for. And I am so grateful for that. And we're going to just keep fighting. Last thing, actually, for those of you that believe in the moon and don't follow the Gregorian calendar, it is the real New Year's Eve tonight. The Lunar New Year, otherwise known as the Chinese New Year, is tomorrow. And it is, oops, the year of the fire horse, ladies and gentlemen. So things are going to speed up. They're going to get intense. They're going to get crazy. And Happy New Year to all of you guys. Nahu1081, good to see you. Mar, R310, Stephanie. Love you guys. Love you guys so much. All of you. All of you. I want to go through all of you. So, anyways, Elisa McDonald, God bless. All right, guys, I'm going to end this live, and I will see you very, very soon. I'm going to try to do this a lot, so, because I love it. So, all right, Next live, maybe tomorrow. Let's see what pops up. But I feel like we could do this every day because we're like researching together. And then I'd like to have like one very good live for you or two very good lives for you every week. All right, guys. See you soon. Bye now.